It's a chunk of metal on two wheels. To Chuck Reichert, it's a way of life.
It's just part of the lifestyle that I've led my whole life. Nice even gap down here.
And Chuck knows choppers. Over the past 10 years, he's been transforming Harley-Davidsons into custom dream machines. Chuck's even made a name for himself in the film industry. His 62 Harley is Hugh Jackman's ride in the Hollywood blockbuster Wolverine.
It went down to New Orleans for some scenes there and was used at Vancouver Studios as well.
Fitting for a guy who's got a Cinderella story of his own.
My story's a very common one and a pretty simple one. Grew up and, in a nutshell, got into a lot of trouble with drugs and alcohol and partying and looking to fit in and doing everything I could to satisfy my needs for acceptance and love and all the things that I guess basic humans want. And I looked in all the wrong places, and it led me to a lot of trouble. And my life was one of those ones that wound up with a lot of drug addiction, alcoholism, and basically one foot in the grave. And that's just kind of how my life went. I've always believed that there was a God, but I didn't understand what that meant. I didn't understand fully what the message of Christianity is. I didn't fully understand what Jesus did. And when I got to that point of when my life was in a very bad, dark, deep, lonely place and I cried out, something happened and something changed. The more I did that, the more I went to God for guidance and help and anything that I needed, the more I would just pray to Him and ask for answers and learn to kind of depend on, lean on Him for His insight and wisdom and guidance and all that stuff. All I know is the more I do that, the more things just seem to work out. And when I think of what my life was like 20 years ago with basically nothing, you know, a down and out drug addict, we're talking pretty low on the scale of how this type of activity works in life. I mean, I wound up down on Hastings, and if you've ever driven down Hastings Street in Vancouver and seen what goes on down there, that's where I wound up. And I guess all I can say today and what I've learned is I want to make sure that if I'm ever asked, I tell people that all I ever did was turn to Him. And a down and out drug addict's life got completely, and I mean completely, turned around to a pretty awesome lifestyle that I lead today. Every dream that I had when I first basically cried out to God has come true and then some. A whole bunch of outside stuff. I mean, I can look around the room here and a guy with no education and no money to be where I'm at today in life. From an outside perspective, I just shake my head. I can't believe it. But I think more importantly is the inside change. I was not a nice guy back out there. I was a picture postcard of self-will run riot. It was all about me and nobody else. I was the epitome of the t-shirt that says does not play well with others. I didn't care about anybody else or anything else other than myself. And I think the biggest thing God's done for me is that's different now. I can't get my brain wrapped around that. I get emotional thinking about it. I don't know where that came from. All this stuff still trips me out to this day, but I'm living it. And I just can't believe what's happened, what God has done for me. And it's the more I've learned about Jesus and everything to do with the message of Jesus and being a Christian, I totally get now, and it totally makes sense of what He did. And I totally understand what I am in my limited power, and the more I learn and understand and turn towards Jesus and get my brain wrapped around and my heart wrapped around what He did for me and everybody else who wants this life, I just don't get it. It's the most awesome thing that I've ever heard about. And I get out a lot. I've seen a lot of stuff over the years. And the story of Jesus and what He did is just the greatest thing that this planet's ever had.